What I got here today is old Dixie Arms Tennessee Poor Boy 50 caliber muzzleloader. Now, I am a traditionalist. I don't go for the inlines and all that kind of stuff, but I guess you could say I am a traditionalist, but I've gone past the point of being a purist. I mean, I can be a traditionalist, but I can also take advantage of some of the more modern developments. For instance, black powder. I mean, for many years there was a time. I mean, you wouldn't catch me using anything but black powder, and pretty much flintlock. I would use flintlocks and black powder, and that's still the ultimate as far as muzzleloader is concerned. I mean, there's no two ways about that. In my opinion, it is the ultimate. I don't think you can beat it. But several years ago, when I was going to elk hunting, either backpacked in or taking my own horses from here to Colorado and spending 4 or 5 weeks back in the wilderness area and muzzleloader hunting, you're real limited in the amount of gear you could take. And I fudged a little bit. Instead of using black powder, I tried Pyrex and I tried 777, because both of them just don't foul out and cause rust like black powder does. And when you're back in there and out there, I use 777, and I still use a lot of 777. I think it's an excellent powder. It's an excellent substitute for black powder. And simply because I could go back there, I didn't have to carry all kinds of clean equipment. I could shoot and take a week before I cleaned it, and the gun would be fine. So, but that was a Hawken type rifle, and using the bigger conical type bullets, primarily something like a Thompson Center maxi ball. But on the Tennessee Poor Boy here, it's strictly a patched round ball deal. And I found that this particular rifle really likes Pyrex. I mean, it likes Pyrex over 777. And it's loaded with Pyrex right now. Matter of fact, it's been loaded for a year with Pyrex. I loaded it almost a year. I loaded it last muzzleloader season. And muzzleloader season just a week or so away. So I loaded it at the muzzleloader season last year, and it's been loaded almost a year. I mean, I shot it last year at deer and reloaded it, so it's been loaded 10, 11 months. But I wouldn't do that with black powder simply because it tends to draw moisture a little bit. But anyway, it's been loaded for a long time. So right now, I'm going to try to shoot it. Hopefully it'll shoot with the first cap, and I use musket caps on it. Hopefully it'll shoot the first time, and hopefully it'll hit where it's supposed to. I did this little experiment last year. I shot it, it'd been loaded 10 months last year, and it shot right off, and it hit right where it's supposed to be, 1.5 inches, 2 inches high at about 60 yards. That's where I want it to hit. So I'm going to set me up a target out here in a minute, and I'm going to shoot this rascal, and we'll just see if it shoots with the first cap and where it hits. Hopefully everything be just fine, but we're going to find that out. Let's try these little glasses here. They help me to see that target considerably better. Oh yeah. Yep. You're good. Yep. She definitely fired. No, like I said, I depart a little bit from tradition in that I fired that shot, been loaded for at least 10 months, maybe 11 months. And it's almost perfect. About an inch and a half high at 60 yards, exactly where it's supposed to be. Now, one viewer commented that I use more lube than anybody he'd ever seen. Well, that's okay too. Yeah, that's by design. Now, lube, it can be used for a lot of different reasons. Ease of loading, so you can get it down there. A lot of people say, well, don't use much lube because it cuts down on your fouling and all that. Well, everybody's got their own idea of what works and what don't work. But I'm telling you what works for me. I use a lot of lube on my patch, a lot of lube. It protects the patch. It lets the patch go down the barrel without being torn by your rifling and everything. I think it's a good deal to put a goodly amount of lube on your patch. And it does a couple of things. It helps lubricate your patches that are going down the bore. It lubricates when it goes off, and the setback, when the lead ball sets back and it fills out your lands and your grooves and seals off your barrel bed, it protects that patch. That lube protects that patch. And sealing that bore off, and don't let gas blow by your ball, definitely increases your patch needs to be made a high degree of integrity. It needs to stay together. Well, I want you to look at this patch. This is the inside. No tears, no cuts, no fire cuts, no nothing. The patch is in perfect shape. However, I want you to look at this patch. This patch here is set on top of that. This was all wadded up down in your bore. It's set something similar to that. Well, this patch does this. This is nothing but a cotton shotgun patch. You can use anything you want. This is pillow ticking, 100% cotton pillow ticking. This is a cotton muzzleloader patch, or shotgun cleaning patch. Well, when I load I use the 120 grains Pyrodex or 120 grains black powder, whichever. But this was Pyrodex because I've had it loaded for a year. So this goes down first. It goes over top of your powder, and it serves two very important purposes. Like I said, there's a fair amount of lube on this patch, a fair amount of lube on it. Well, I don't want that lube to get down and contaminate my powder charge. So I put this shotgun patch down on top of my powder. Well, that does a couple of things. It protects this patch from the fire And you can see this patch. This patch takes a little bit of abuse. Takes quite a bit of abuse. This was setting over the powder charge. This portion of the patch was under this, like so. So, all this down here protects from the fire and everything else. Helps keep all the fire, everything away from this patch. And this excess lube that I have in this patch is absorbed by this cotton patch, that little bit of excess. It does not migrate down into my powder charge. So I use a soft cotton, or you can use anything you want, but I definitely use an over the powder wad to do a couple of things. To absorb this lube, this generous amount of lube that I had on this patch, which protect that patch and made a perfect seal. A perfect patch. It's not blown by at all. Accuracy is phenomenal. So that this patch, whoop, the over the powder patch, it kind of took a beat. Of course, it's soft and all that. It's not very tough, but it took a beat. It took a real beat. But it did its job. It protected this patch. It protected this patch, and it absorbed any excess lube that may have been in this patch. So it did a great job. I will load up one more round, fire it, and then clean this thing and get it ready for the season. The season's on top of us. Well, okay. Number 2. This is all that I will probably shoot out of it today. And again, the over the powder patch took a beating, but it protected this patch. Not a cut, not a cut through, not a blow by, nothing. The patch is in perfect shape. This one's not. This one takes the abuse. This one does its job. It grips the ball, transfers the rifling from the rifle to the ball. The patch does its job fine. It seals off perfectly. It grips the ball, gets it spin perfect. It's a good combination. And here's your accuracy. I'm aiming right here. This is my aim point. That's where I'm hitting. That's about perfect. This is about 60 yards. That's great. That's great. If I'd shoot a few more, they should be right in here. That's great accuracy. So my old Tennessee Poor Boy is doing good. You gotta love it when you can leave this thing loaded for 10, 11 months and it shoots right where it's supposed to be first shot. First cap, and it's 1.5 inches high at 60 yards. You gotta love it. This old little rascal has certainly been a war horse for me over the years. Like I said, I've used it in the flintlock configuration, which I really like, but getting trifling in my old age, and haven't got me new flints or anything like that. But my goodness, I love this old rifle. And this will, of course, this will hopefully get my muzzleloader buck this year. So go in and get it cleaned up and loaded up for this season. I'm pleased with it. Talk soon. Yes, sir. I like this rifle. Been a good old rifle. Had it many years. Many, many years. Carried many, many seasons, and I have no idea how much game's been taken with this rifle. It's a good one.